Vibration, music. Don't you just love it? It's a part of our lives, start to finish. Our wedding songs, birthday, special occasions. How about high school band? Anybody here in high school band had to play in front of everybody? Yeah. Well, I first want to tell you a little bit. Hi, guys. Oh, come on in. We're just hanging out. So I want to tell you a little bit about music in my life, because my mother she had the most beautiful singing voice. She cut a record. She lived in Ventura, California. She grew up wanting to have that hit record. She wound up being a mom, and her music continued through that. I have many memories of sitting at the piano in the living room. She went to get a job so that she could pay for my piano lessons, which I took for 4 years. So I had that in my life from the very beginning. And then when I got older, wiser, I wound up going into radio broadcasting. And it was a fluke. I was playing bass and singing Pat Benatar songs in a band that went to different bars and dives and different things like that, and had a great time with that. Played bass. It was awesome. But one day I called the local radio station. One call. I know you want to say that's all, don't you? No. One call. And the gentleman I talked to was from the radio station, and he said that they were not going to be there. We had actually written a song for the station, because when you're that young, you're like, oh, maybe it'll make a difference. Maybe they'll put my song on the radio. Well, ultimately, they did not. But this was a phone call that changed my life, because he happened to like my voice and asked me to come up to the radio station and talk to him. That phone call put me into 30 years in radio broadcasting. And during that time, I kind of put away my own instruments. I always played guitar. I always played piano. Music always spoke to me, but now I got to play it for people, and I got to introduce bands, and it was lovely and yummy. And when that time came to kind of transition into another piece of my life, music was without a doubt. Music and teaching have been a lifelong thread in my life. And so here I sit with you today. So grateful that you're here, so that I can share some of these beautiful instruments that I play to help people move into a place of meditation. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about meditation in general. For some reason, do we all meditate here? Yes? Well, you know how it is when you talk to people in your life who don't meditate, don't know anything about it. And there's often a pushback, because what we don't know about, we're afraid of. And so I have tried on and off to invite people such as yourself who know meditation to invite their friends over. Let's say for a potluck. We can have a potluck. They can, bring a dish and pay $10 and, I can play for an hour. And you know what happens? They use the word meditation and their friends go, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't stop my mind. I can't sit in lotus. There's so many different myths that go along with what meditation is really about. And it's just about that focus and that balance and that alignment to all that is. Agree? I know, right? So what is there to be afraid of? I always wonder that. It is the Word, because the Word comes with all kinds of questions. So I have continued every Friday at Sacred Energy Empowerment Center for over a year now to do noontime meditations. I always use music. I've had 2 people. I have 27 people. It just depends on the week. But however many people are there, that's exactly how many people should be there, right? We have learned to be in that allowance and that intention of love through music, through vibration, frequency, energy, resonance, the chambers within our body, our brain, our heart, our cells, our lungs, the vibration of our spinal fluid when we're drummed is just magnificent. And it moves all the way into, it's like a massage from the inside out, yes? That's exactly what it's like. So today I brought some instruments with me that have some stories. You don't mind me sharing some stories with you, do you? Say no. Say no. say no. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is this flute right over here. I do Native American flutes. These are tongue drums that I'm going to play for you. I have a new mandolin that I have a miracle. It's my miracle mandolin that I want to share with you today. This is a side-blown Native American flute. When I first saw it, it was a block of wood in a back room. Bill Hughes, who is a local flute maker, is the mind and the creativity behind this piece. She is beautiful, but the lesson that I have that came with her is pretty incredible. As a Native American flute player, I'm pretty used to just picking up a flute and playing it. Not her. I pick the wood, I pick the stones, the flute hole or the holes for my fingers are grooved for my own grip. She's entirely custom for me. And I took her home and tried to play her. And it was like this. Okay, right? So then, this went on for a couple of weeks. And I would pick her up one day and she would play for me. And I would pick her up another day and she wouldn't make a noise, a sound. And one day, you have all been here when you have that moment where you're like, I surrender, I give up. I don't understand why this isn't working because we're a team here. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be here. I picked the wood, right? That's such ego, such ego. And one day, she was laying on the bed and I picked her up and I said, I spoke to her and I said, can we just please work together? I know that you sound beautiful. And I'm just going to give you my breath and leave the rest to you. Oboe. It's beautiful. And when I stopped trying to force her to play is when she opened her voice. Being an allowance, understanding the partnership, that was a huge lesson for me. Because as a player, we want to play that instrument. So through meditation and through experience, I want to remind you today that the things that we have difficulty with are often because we're trying to force it. We think we know how it's supposed to work. And the first thing I did, or when the first thing I did was say, please work with me. I'm just going to give you my breath. She came alive. So that's a huge lesson. And when I pick her up and I play her, I always remember that partnership that I have with her. She's beautiful. And I'd like to just pass her around so that you can feel her energy and look at the craftsmanship. I know I don't have a long time today, and I will do a meditation with you, when we get till about 10 minutes left, okay? This is my miracle mandolin. I've had this mandolin since 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Here's the story. My husband and I have a rare day together to just go hang out. And we wind up in a couple of antique stores, and I asked the lady, right, we're junk shopping. I asked the lady, do you have any instruments? I have over 20 Native American flutes. I have 18 different Tibetan bowls, crystal bowls. I have a music room at the house. So that's the first question I often come up with. People bring me things back from their vacations, like rattles and stuff. I just love it. I adore it. So she said, no, we don't have any. We don't have any instruments at all. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we poked around. And in the back, I found a room with the door open about this wide. It was like a Harry Potter moment. And I was like, what's in here? And I could see stacks of speakers, like Martin speakers. And I'm like, well, there's something musical in here. And I opened it up. And in the corner was this case, very small case. And I picked it up. I'm like, what's in here? I didn't know what it was. Opened it up. This was what was inside, a mandolin. Never played one before. I put it in my hand, and it said, take me home. I said, how much? They said, well, he wants $500. I said, can't do that. Put her back, right? $500, I can't do that. And here's where the miracle's already started, but I don't know yet. Just finding her in a room that was in the back after being told there were no musical instruments, to me, was mind-blowing. Then the lady talked to the gentleman who was selling her, and he said, well, I'll take $400. My husband and I talked about it. We're not really in a position to do that. We went home, and we sat down, and I said, well, maybe $3 if they would take payments. I don't know. I don't know. And I could not get her off my mind. So, ultimately, cutting to the chase, the woman gets approval for $300. I went through my jewelry box to find pieces that I no longer wore, that maybe belonged to my mother who's passed on. As a musician, I felt like she would rather have me have something that would vibrate with me than have these pieces in my jewelry box. So I gathered the ones together, crying a lot over this choice that I was making, but knowing it was right, and I took them to someone who might buy them. And she looked at them, and I started crying. And she said, why are you doing this? I have a mandolin that wants me to bring it home. And she sat with that for a while, and we talked a little bit. And she shoved all of my jewelry back across the table and said, Angel, no, I'm going to give you $300 that you can pay me back so you can go get this. I was shocked, so happy. It's like, okay, now I can go get this miracle mandolin. But then what happened later is even more freaky and beautiful and aligned. That evening, I had a friend who had just filed for divorce, just signed the papers. I went over to her house to relax with her, to help her kind of get through this process that I knew she would be going through. And I told her this story. And she pulled out her checkbook and wrote me a $300 check so I could pay back the woman who was kind enough to give me $300 for the mandolin. Is that freaky or what? Isn't that yummy when those things happen? It just makes it so special. It was a day of light and love and alignment. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can't play this. I can't play it yet. But I wanted to, it was really important for me to share that with you. Because when you see things that you want, and you put that attraction out there for it, and you bring it to you with love and light and a knowing, beautiful things happen for us, yes? We've all manifested wonderful things. We are all master manifestors, yes? Jobs, money, love, light, that special coat you found somewhere, whatever it is, you can bring it to you. And I truly, fully believe that with all my heart. And when it comes to meditation, it puts us in a place of calm and relaxation. Thoughts move in, thoughts move out. There are people that say, I cannot meditate because I can't stop myself from thinking. Guess what? It's not about that. It's about letting those thoughts move through. Hi, how you doing? Moving on. And sooner or later, you get to that place of being in allowance and at peace. Even a wild child like me gets to that place of alignment. I love all music. I love to hip hop. I take hip hop lessons. I'm 59 years old, and I hang out with the 17-year-olds, and they're like pushing me to the front of the class. I'm never sure if it's because they want to make fun of me or because they're proud of me. But it's so much fun. So music is everything. It just moves through my life, no matter what I do. So there's a couple of stories about some things. You know, I also, do you guys know what a hang drum is? They're huge. They're like this big. Thank you so much. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? So, I forgot where I was at. What?
Hang drum.
Hang drum, yeah. So, the hang drum thing, I had to have it. I had to have one. It just called me. I had to order it from France. It took over a year for me to get it. When I got it, guess what? I worked with it, but I couldn't, it was so big I couldn't reach the other side. And I struggled with it and struggled with it, just like I did with my flute until I said, okay, I give in. But in this case, I had a gentleman I'd already had a tongue drum from. Let me show you this. You can see why it's called a tongue drum, because it has slits that are cut in the top of it that look like tongues. And I had one. He lives in California, or not California, Colorado, and he makes these out of propane tanks. That's what this is. I know, right? So I woke up one morning, and literally the first thought on my mind is, you need to call Noah, the man's name, because Noah wants your tongue drum, or your hang drum, and trade him. I sent Noah an email. 10 minutes later, he said, yes, how many tongue drums do you want? And I got 5 tongue drums, which equaled the $1,600 that I tried 3 times to press, yes, I want it, you know, the order now button. Now I have 5 tongue drums that I can play, and he loves that hang drum. I love it when things like that happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and play just a little bit of this before I get to my drums and the flute, because I want you to feel what this is like. I can't sit in a chair.
Any of these kind of tongue drums before the exchange?
I did. I had one. That's why I knew him.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I have 5 of these. When I first got them, I asked my husband, I want to be able to put all 5 of them around me and play them, but they're all in different keys and different scales. And you know what he said to me? Now that you've thought of it, you'll do that tomorrow. That's how much my husband knows that when we get an idea, we create that. He had no doubt. He was like, oh, honey, don't worry about nothing. So that's my time drum story. And after we're finished today, you're more than welcome to come and try to play them with me. So that's my miracle mandolin, my tongue drum story, my beautiful flute story. And now it's your turn to relax. I want you to put your hands up in the air. Just put your hands up in the air. I would do it, but my dress is too short. Close your eyes, and I want you to listen to this beautiful stream. When you're ready, you can put your hands down and put them maybe across your heart if you'd like, wherever you're comfortable. Just breathe and relax. When I hear you breathe, breathe in and release. Breathe in, love and light. Do that 5 more times for me. Breathing in. Oh, that sounds so good. Breathe in. Deep breath. Ah. 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 Imagine the ocean. Ah. This drum is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Feel her in your breath, in your throat, in your heart. I made this drum in a backyard on a beautiful autumn day. She has drummed hundreds of people up one side and down the other, touching each one of the chambers in her body, the cells. And the vibration lives on and on and on and on. The way you feel in this moment, the peace, the compassion, the love, that's what music is all about. That's what meditation brings us. It puts us in a place of balance and kindness and joy, allowance, acceptance, resonating with all that is. Deep breath. Out. Ah. Let's do that 3 times. Breathe in. Ah. Breathe in. Ah. One more time. Breathe in. Ah. Just remember to breathe, believe, receive, achieve, and know without a doubt that you are loved endlessly, unconditionally. And I'm so grateful that I could be here today to share some of my instruments, some of my stories of miracles, learning allowance. We can learn from everything, and music speaks to our souls and our hearts.